coming over, and I know you read Switch. I know you've been part of the launch.
Yes.
I know you've given me a fantastic review. I want to really use today to probably take your feedback of how Switch concepts are being useful in something like a GE context. So one of the first questions I probably wanted to ask about is like nurturing the customers. I use this concept that that you educate the market. But most of the time, market may not be ready for putting your products to use, and may not be ready to understand how they can put it to use. In our outsourcing parlance, we used to say share lessons learned, share insights from the other work, so that other companies can go back and put a business case back into their company, saying how they get ready to use a concept like outsourcing.
Right.
So could you share something what you are doing in the GE context in terms of educating, nurturing the market?
See, look, Srini, I think you brought a great point on educating the market to really use the products and the features. Healthcare, if you look at it, is something where we see a huge gap of skill. If you look at how the whole healthcare market is split, our more than 70% of the population lives in rural area, and we have 80% of the skilled clinicians live in cities.
Absolutely.
Only 20% are in the
right. Just to add to your point, I know there are only some 1,200 endocrinologists in this country.
Absolutely. The skill gap is huge. And because of that, I think our markets are still moving towards smaller towns, villages. And if you sell a product that has various features, people don't know what to use.
Absolutely.
And it is becoming a market need, not just to really sell a product, also create a education piece as a way to really make this product sell by itself. Education, we are looking at it in two ways. One is, can a product be a self-educating a clinician, or can you create additional market itself for education? In fact, we looked at this as one of the key things when we sold our portable ultrasound machines in South Africa, the African region. What we found is the people who use this, like ASHA workers or people who go door to door to treat patients, they were able to take this, but they were not able to use the full features of the product. And then we had to really look at how do we train these people so that they know what they are scanning. Can you really make them realize, at their homes or at their offices, can they have an education device that can really make them realize, hey, here is what I'm scanning, and here is if I move here, I can understand something better about these features. So those became a market by itself. Market by itself, and also it created an edge for us in developing the products and solutions, including education as a feature.
Just a slightly different context of this education. So a lot of times if the market is not ready to put your product to use, how do you get them ready to put your product to use?
Well, I think this is a great point. One of the things that we try to do is co-creation. Many times market is not yet ready, but we work with clinicians as well as many of the people who have never understood these products. We work with them to develop these products. I can give you an example. About 10 years back, we launched baby warmers. Baby warmers, we launched it in India. And the market at that time for baby warmer was, the product that was there as a baby warmer was a bulb. And you go to a village, they will put a bulb above a baby and they will cover the baby's eyes, and that was the product. And we had to go and convince them that you are going to buy a product which is a baby warmer, which is going to cost you probably 100 or 200 times that of a bulb, but they have to look at it. So what we did is we met several hundred primary healthcare institutions, met ASHA workers, and we co-created products along with them. An equivalent product in US was a product which was costing maybe $35,000-$40,000. You can't sell that replacing a bulb which was costing 100 rupees.
100 rupees. Right?
So we had to find something in between, and what we had to do was educate them, give them the advantages, give them the safety features, give them how this is going to improve infant mortality, and now we created 5x impact in the market compared to what was earlier. And these were not even considered as the products that should be used, and today these have become the bare necessities.
If I just extend this to, let's say, a corporate buyer of your products, and many times the corporate buyers has to put a business case internally to see whether their company is ready to put some products to use. We may also want perhaps experience some lessons learned of how others have used or not used. Like in my IT experience, I do sometimes it almost 2 years of nurturing a customer before they could finally feel comfortable. And in doing that, we used to share lessons of how others are using it, what went right, what went wrong. Any such experiences you can share with us?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I think on the corporate experience, if you can think about what we did in our city, city when we tried to sell in the past about 7 years back, the corporates, large corporates would use our product where they were looking at using it for research as well as for very high-end applications. But the needs that were there in many of the corporates who were putting the hospitals in smaller places, they were seeing a need for cases like emergencies when a person comes with an accident and they want to have a quick scan to find out on trauma cases, is there any bleeding that has happened in the brain? How do we really take care of that? And they were looking for products which were requiring to meet that kind of a need. And we didn't have anything in the market that was meeting that. And we worked with these hospitals. And it took us a few years, but we worked with many of these kind of customers. And today we ended up creating a market which was not existing. We launched the product. We have sold more than 1,000 products in the market so far. And not only it created a market, it also made our competitors start building those products. And that's the example of where we had to learn from our customers, our hospitals, and work with them to create what was the bare need that had to be covered.
Just extending this to, you work a lot with the healthcare startup world. It's so much of health tech which is coming. Many of them struggle to go to market because they don't have this approach to nurture the market. So what is your advice from your learnings to somebody like a health tech market, health tech startups, to see how they can play? Because many times their products could be ahead of times. And the market is not yet ready to put to use, and they probably also don't know what else it needs to be done in that companies to put it to use. So what would be your guidance from your experience of these health tech companies going to market better, nurturing the market, educating the market?
Great point, Srini. I think one of the challenge for most of these startups is the market access. And in today's world, going alone in the market, even for large corporations or other people, is not always the best way. There are people who are developing solutions which are unique ahead of time, and sometimes you launch something so ahead of time that you end up failing in the market, not because you were not good, but the market was not ready. But if you are able to really connect with some partnership, you can really make an impact in the market. We did a similar thing for one of the startups. We had a startup called Tricor, who had come up with an idea of taking the ECGs and taking the ECGs and analyzing them and providing the feedback to a clinician or a doctor in a village very quickly within minutes. So that was a great concept. It was like using the back-end office of experts who are going to look at it, give a feedback. Not only give feedback, send a message to a hospital nearby to tell them that, hey, here is a patient who is having a heart attack. Be ready, and the patient is going to be transported to you.
Yeah, it also solves the problem of not many doctors in the village.
Yeah. And now that startup is not only become successful in India, in many countries the same concept has been.
But what was their transition of nurturing the market? Partnering through you. So you help them to reach out to the right access market, educate the market. So one of the lessons learned therefore you are saying is probably startups have to look for the right partners to go to market.
Yeah.
Very interesting point, because I'm working with some fintech who tried it on its own, didn't work. Now they're going through some bigger partners, and the banks are all more accepting them to work with.
Okay.
Wonderful.